What's up, Mustangs? Miss Titus here, and today what we're going to talk about is the application of solving equations, which is what we've been doing all week, specifically how to solve word problems. In your iPod you should have this foldable, you should have this word problem, and you can title it Solving Word Problems, or you could call it Applications. There are going to be 4 steps to solving a word problem. Obviously, first we need to read the problem, so follow along. A music store sells a used guitar for $120. This is 25 more than half the cost of a new guitar of the same brand. What is the cost of the new guitar? Okay, so after we read it, we kind of like process it. I'm going to underline the important information. I think this used guitar for $120 is pretty important. 25 more than half of a new guitar. Okay, and then I want to pay specific attention to the very last question, because that's normally what our variable is going to be. It's going to say, okay, what do we want to know? What is the unknown? So in this case, the unknown is the cost of a new guitar. Okay, so look up at the top of your foldable. We're going to start in the top right hand corner. Step 1 to solving a word problem is define your variables. Now, it's pretty easy now because there's only one variable, but what I would want you to do is to use a letter that makes sense to you. Don't call a new guitar X if you're not going to remember what X is. So for new guitar, since it's N, I'm going to say N equals a new guitar. And then how did I know that? Because that's the question. The question is, what is the cost of a new guitar? So that's our unknown. That is our variable. Okay. Step 2 is to write the equation. Now, this is going to need, you're going to use the handout that we gave you a while back. It's called Math into Words. And what we want to look for is the words in the word problem that indicate operations. Okay, so the first thing that I see is that a used guitar is $120. So I'm going to write $120 up here because this is probably going to go in my word problem. This is, remember, is means equal. 25 more than, so I'm going to write down here now. 25 more than means 25 plus half the cost of a new guitar. Half means 1/2. The cost of a new guitar, remember guys, up here I said my new guitar is in, so whenever I see the words new guitar, I'm going to write the word in. Okay? So literally you're just translating the words into operations and numbers to write an equation. So under here I'm going to write my equation. 120 equals 25 plus 1/2 in. Okay? The next step is going to be to solve the equation. Okay, so up here I'm going to rewrite my equation, the same thing that I wrote here. 120 equals 25 plus 1/2 n. Here's my variable. So do I have any parentheses to distribute? No. Do I have any like terms to combine on the left or right side? No. Do I have variables on both sides? No. So the first thing I'm going to do is move my constant by adding the opposite. So my constant here next to my variable is 25. The opposite of 25 is negative 25. 1/2 n is equal to 120 minus 25. Go ahead and get your calculator out because we're going to use it to check the answer. 120 minus 25 is 95. Okay, and now I need to get rid of this coefficient. Now remember that in order to get rid of multiplication, we divide, and in order to get rid of division, we multiply. And in order to get rid of a fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 1/2 is going to be 2 over 1, or just 2. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. 1/2 and 2 zero out, and I'm left with n equals, and then 2 times 95 is $190. So first, let's talk about reasonableness. Does this make sense? Well, what do you think costs more, a new guitar or an old guitar, a used guitar? Well, our used guitar was $120, our new guitar is $190. So far that makes sense, like the new one's going to cost more money. But now what we can do is we can use our calculator to check our answer. So remember that the first thing we do is go to y equals. In y1 we type in the first part of the equation, which is 120. So let me clear that. In y2 I type in the second part of the equation, which is 25 plus 1/2. And I can do n in my calculator, but remember when we graph it's always going to be x. I'm going to graph those two. Graphing, graphing, graphing. Still graphing. Okay, I can't see anything, so I'm going to zoom out. Graphing, graphing, graphing. Oh, there's a line. Graphing, still can't see everything, so I'm going to zoom out again. Oh, there's the other line. Okay, so now that I can see where my lines intersect, I can trace the intersection and make sure that the value of x is actually 190. So I'm going to do second trace, number 5, and then enter, enter, enter. Oops, still can't do it. So let me zoom out one more time. Now I'll definitely be able to see it. Okay, second trace, intersect, and we end up with x equals 190. We got n equals 190 so that we know we're correct. So we checked it, put a little check mark next to it. Alright, so after we solve the equation, we need to write a sentence that is going to kind of tell us what our answer means in the real world. So answer the question. Okay, so answer to the question. Well, the original question is what is the cost of the new guitar? So our answer would be the cost of the new guitar is $190. And we're done. That is solving a word problem. So what I want you to do now is go ahead and fill out the form. If you have any questions, write them down, and we will see you in class tomorrow. Have a great evening.